What is up guys, it is Harley here, welcome back to the One Touch channel, episode 5 on the One Touch channel. Now I wanted to say thank you all for 150 subscribers, it's all going up so quickly and I can't thank you guys enough. But I think what we're going to do this time, I'm going to show my updated Euros fantasy squad, but I'm going to put it straight on the screen for you guys rather than dragging it out the full 10-15 minutes. Doing every player individually. We're going to go through them individually, but obviously it's on the screen right now, so you can view it whatever you want to do. But we're going to go through, analyse and look at why I made these choices and things like that. But the team's on the screen right now for those that want it or just want to see it, whatever. The reason why you clicked on this video really, but we're going to get straight into this with Gianluigi Donnarumma as the starting goalkeeper. Now, he's been selected by 30%. I think that's the highest selected goalkeeper. But again, he's against Turkey. It's tonight, this game. So that's a reason for him to be starting. 5.5 million euros isn't too bad. But I'm not sure what the price comparisons are for other goalkeepers. I think that's around... It's Courtois for 6, Neuer, Lloris for 6. So he's not actually the max price for a goalkeeper, which is actually quite good. Going to zoom in. Yeah, there we go. That's a lot better. So Donnarumma obviously is 3 matches. I don't think it's going to matter for me really what the other 2 matches are for Donnarumma. He wouldn't be in the team for the Switzerland games. I feel like they would concede. I'm not sure about Wales, but for game week 2, I am going to use my limitless chip. So that means you can pretty much make unlimited transfers. I'm pretty sure that's just what it is. And then game week 3, I think I'm going to use my wild card. Well, I don't even know what the difference is really. I'm going to have to look at it, but that's the reason I've got Donnarumma in. We'll move to the other keeper on the bench. We've got Daniel Bachmann, selected by 1%. He's the Austria goalkeeper to face North Macedonia for 4.5 million. It's a bargain really. If you look at the dates as well, judging by how the bench system works, after a player has played, you can choose to sub them off if a player plays the day after or not the same day, like a few days after, well, after the day that they play. For example, Ferran Torres plays on the 14th of June, Berardi plays on the 11th of June. Say Berardi tonight doesn't get any points, I can choose to sub him off for Ferran Torres before Torres plays, so that I get the points for Torres, and vice versa for any of the other players. They are my 2 goalkeeper choices. We're going to move on to the defence, which is a back 4, but the formation doesn't actually matter. You just start the players that play first. So as you can see, I've got Ronaldo, Pau Torres and Ferran Torres on the bench just because the dates that they play is after everyone else. Everyone else is 11th, 12th or 13th. Pau and Ferran are 14th and Ronaldo's 15th. Same with Bachmann for Donnarumma as well. But the first defender we have, they play tonight for Italy. It is Leonardo Spinazzola, selected by 4%, which is actually surprisingly low. Obviously, again, plays Turkey. 5.5 million, which is a little... It's on the expensive side for Spinazzola, well, no, for a defender, compared to Mela at 4.5, Denayer at 4.5, Windal for 4.5. But I think Spinazzola's a very good pick, and depending on how Italy do against Turkey, I might include him against Switzerland and Wales, you never know. I think he might be one of those must-have players for me. But that's my reasoning for Spinazzola. Joachim Mela is the other, well, one of the other 4 defenders. He plays against Finland. I'm looking at this as a very good match. Unfortunately, I can only get 1 Denmark player in for the budget that I'm on. But yeah, selected by 5%. He's one of the FPL YouTuber favourites players to pick. If he's not already in your team, get him in your team because he's... I mean, a lot of people like the differentials, but I think this guy's pretty much guaranteed points. I think he's guaranteed a goal contribution or clean sheet, or maybe even both, you never know, but there we go, there's my reasoning for Mela. Next is Jason Denayer. Now I'm not too sure if I'm going to include Jason Denayer. It's one of 3. It's Jason Denayer or one of the 2 Belgian right backs, Castagna or Meunier. Now the reasoning for that is because it is not nailed on between Meunier or Castagna, so I'm not taking the risk and I'm going for another Belgian defender. Because if I pick Castagna and Meunier is the one that plays, obviously I'll miss out on the points, but Denayer is nailed on to play at centre back, so that's why I've included him. Selected by 20%, he's in pretty much everyone's team. Play against Russia, should be a guaranteed clean sheet, but you never know, the Euros is unpredictable. 4.5 million. It's a bargain, it is really. so that's why he's in the team. The fourth defender that I have is Owen Window. I think he is one of the must-haves as well, playing against Ukraine. And again, you never know what could happen with that score, but you would expect Netherlands to win that game. Selected by 11%, 4.5 million, which I think is an actual bargain for a player like that. And you never know. North Macedonia, I think I'll probably put him back in the team. Austria, I don't think they'll get a clean sheet, so I'm not too sure about that. But those are my 4 starting defenders. And then my other defender, Pau Torres, plays against Sweden. Selected by 27%, which is a lot, but he's only 4.5 million for a player of this calibre. He's a high calibre player, a nailed on Spain centre back in Pau Torres. I think he should be in everyone's team. Moving on to the midfield, we're starting off with Xherdan Shaqiri, selected by 2%. He's 7 million euros, playing against Wales. I expect this guy to get a goal contribution. Now, I don't think I still don't know, because I'm making this video as my final fantasy team, but I might still make 1 or 2 changes. I'm 90% sure that this team is going to be my final team, and I think if I were to take out, remove any players, I think Shaqiri might be the only player that doesn't make it. I think everyone else is nailed on for my team, apart from Shaqiri. Other than that, I think the whole team is good to go. Shaqiri against Wales. The thing is with Shaqiri, he's a very good player, but he's quite inconsistent. He scores good goals, but does he score consistent goals? No. So I could take him out for, I don't know, maybe free up some space for a Wijnaldum in there, you never know. But moving on to the next midfielder, we have Yuri Tielemans against Russia. I think he is likely to get an assist, if there is to be any of the midfielders to get assists. With De Bruyne out of the game, I think if there are any midfielders for Belgium that are likely to get a goal or assist, it's going to be Yuri Tielemans. Selected by 13% against Russia. 6.5 million, I think, is a very good, very realistic. It's just a good price for Yuri Tielemans. But that's my reasoning for Yuri Tielemans. I feel like if there's a Belgium midfielder who's likely to get a goal or assist, it's going to be him. Next is David Alaba. He's registered as a midfielder. He is selected by 19%, so it's not as if he's a differential. He's 5.5 million, very cheap. Plays against North Macedonia, which are arguably the worst team in the tournament. And Alaba, he's registered as a midfielder, but actually plays at the left wing position for Austria, so that's why he's selected by a lot, and obviously the team that he plays against. But I think he's a very promising player for this Matchday 1. And he is without a doubt in my team, and he has been in my team for about a week now, and he is probably not going to leave. Next is Domenico Berardi, selected by 4%. He is 6 million, plays against Turkey. Now, here is the thing. I'll have to look at my budget. I might free up some budget, might have to take Shaqiri out. But what I'm looking at is the Italy midfielders. If we take a look at them, I'm either going to select Chiesa, Insigne, or Berardi. Berardi's only in there because he's the low budget option. If I were to choose one of the 3, it would be Insigne. I'm not sure. I'd have to free up 0.5. I'll probably take Shaqiri out and put Chiesa in, because the deadline for your Euros fantasy squad is literally when the match kicks off. So we're going to see the Italy lineup before the deadline, so we could make those final changes to our fantasy teams with the Italy lineup. I'll take Berardi out for Chiesa. Probably free up some space, probably take Shaqiri out. Moving on to the 5th and final midfielder, we have Ferran Torres for Spain, plays against Sweden. 8 million, he's sort of on the more expensive side, you could say. 8 million, I think is a decent price for him. Any Spain player in general that's likely to get a goal or assist, it's probably going to be him. He's on the bench, obviously, because of the bench rule, the 14th of June. I think he has to be nailed on to be in everyone's team, really. He should be in your team. If he's not in your team, get him in your team, because he is definitely going to be worth it. Now, moving on to the final 3 players of the team, the front 3. We've got Romelu Lukaku, selected by 49%. He is the player that's selected by the most players in Euros fantasy. He's worth 11 million, plays against Russia, has Denmark and Finland as his other 2 games. He should be in your team. He's favourites to actually win Golden Boot in the entire tournament, so you need Romelu Lukaku in your team. He is, when you're making your fantasy team, he should be the first player that you put in. He has to be in your team. The second out of the 3 forwards is going to be Memphis Depay. He is involved in everything for Netherlands. If anyone is going to score for Netherlands, it's going to be Depay. He is the penalty taker, free kick taker, think he might be the corner taker. Yes, he's selected by 24%, so he's not a differential, but he's 10 million. Plays against Ukraine, he is likely to get a goal, maybe even more than a goal. It could be 2 or 3 goals, you never know. Could get some assists in there as well. But Depay, I think if you're starting out, the first 3 players that should be nailed on in your team are Lukaku, Depay, and an Italian midfielder for this week. That should be what it is. And the third and final forward, the 15th and final player in the team, is none other than Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, plays against Hungary. Selected by 29%, so he's obviously not a differential. He's the best player of all time, but he's 12 million. I think that's the most expensive player in Euros fantasy, so I'm not too sure. He is definitely going to make my final team, but I'm not too sure about how he's going to do. I think he'll do well. Again, the same with Lukaku and Depay. I think if anyone's going to score for Portugal, or if anyone's going to get an assist, if anyone's going to win Portugal the game against Hungary, it's going to be Cristiano Ronaldo. So you need to get him in your team. So yeah. And that's my team for the Euros fantasy. That is my final team. There might still be 1 or 2 changes in there, but right now, me sitting here at 3:30. I think this video will probably get released at like 6. But the deadline is at 8 PM. It's 3:30, 4.5 hours until the deadline. This is currently what my final team is going to be. Probably awaiting a couple changes, but for now, this is the final team. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and yeah, goodbye.